The number one mistake people make when trying to lose weight is that their initial thought is, what food should I cut out of my diet? Wrong. In this episode of Prep School, we're gonna talk about what you should do instead. Rather than cutting out completely healthy foods, you should be eating more of the high fiber foods that do the weight loss work for you. And the Hearty Minestrone soup that we're gonna make today includes a few of those foods in particular, so let's make it. This soup contains 14 grams of fiber, and given that we need 30 grams in a day, you are well on your way to hitting the goal with just one serving of this soup. And the fiber mainly comes from whole wheat pasta and canned beans. So we're gonna open this can of beans, and we're gonna give them a good rinse under some water. All right, so beans are rinsed. Next up, we need some pasta. And the recipe calls for whole wheat orzo. If you can't find whole wheat orzo, any whole wheat pasta will work. So we are going to measure out a cup of pasta here. All right, pasta is measured and all set. And if you think you can't lose weight while eating carbs, think again. Carbs contain fiber, so if we cut them out of our diet, we're losing out on a lot of great fiber. And fiber is what helps us lose weight. Now, why or how, may you ask? Let's start prepping some other veggies and I'll key you into fiber's benefits. So first up, we need 1 medium red potato, and we are going to dice this. So fiber helps us lose weight because we don't digest it. So when we eat a fiber-rich meal, we're not only gonna feel fuller for longer, but we're not gonna absorb any calories from fiber. And by feeling fuller for longer, our energy levels are gonna be more stable, and so we're not gonna be so hungry so often. So just a small-ish dice here. Okay, and now this can go in a bowl and we can set it aside. Now, I always say when I'm doing these videos, I use a lot of bowls because it looks pretty, right? But when you're actually cooking this in your home, this is a one-pot meal. You can cook as you chop and prep, and then things go in the pot. So you're really not making as big of a mess as I am. Okay, next up we need 2 medium zucchinis. So another point about fiber is that some research actually suggests fiber binds with calories in food. So by eating a fiber-rich meal, you can actually absorb fewer calories overall, hence why fiber does the weight loss work for you. And also, isn't it so much more fun and satisfying to think of the foods you should be eating more of to help you achieve your health goal versus all the foods you think you should be cutting out? I think so. And you'll notice I am cutting these relatively thin. That just helps make this recipe cook quicker. So this thin cut means less cook time overall. So this recipe comes together in a quick 45 minutes. So it makes for a really nice weeknight dinner. And what I like to do, because this recipe is so delicious, I want to eat it every single day, is that I like to prep this on the weekend. So I have something healthy to grab from the fridge and eat come lunchtime. And like most soups, the longer this sits, the tastier it gets. So you see how much zucchini is really in this bowl. There is a ton. Okay, next up we have our leeks to prep, and leeks are delicious. They are part of the onion family, and you see the roots are still attached. They grow in the ground like onions, and because they have layers, they tend to have a lot of dirt trapped in the layers. So I'm gonna show you the easiest way to clean a leek right now. First, we need to fill up a bowl with water. All right, so we have our bowl of water. Now we can slice our leek. We're gonna cut this root end off, and we can get rid of that and these extra bits. And then we can just start slicing. And from here, we are going to dump them into this bowl of water. And you see that they float to the top, which is great. And then get in there and just break the rings up. And this helps to release more of the dirt. And in no time, the longer that these sit, you'll see more and more dirt float to the bottom. And at the end of it, we can pull out the clean leeks on the top and leave the dirt in the bowl. And we'll add the last of these in here and break them up. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and let these leeks dry off a bit in a kitchen towel. And our spinach is already washed and prepped. So all we have to do now is head on over to the stove and get cooking. All right, so now it's time to cook. We're gonna heat our Dutch oven or soup pot to medium-high heat, and we're gonna add some olive oil to the Dutch oven and let that heat up. All right, so that pot is hot. The oil looks nice and shimmery in there, so it's hot and ready to go. And in go our leeks. And we're gonna go ahead and let them cook for about 3 minutes. We'll stir every so often. And then we're also adding in our diced potato, some dried thyme, as well as our salt and our pepper. We have 1 cup of water, and next up we have 4 cups of low sodium chicken stock or veggie stock. We're gonna bring that to a boil. I'm gonna turn the heat down to low now and let it continue to simmer. I'm gonna cover it and let it go for another 5 minutes. All right, so next up is our pasta. And what's so great about this recipe is that the pasta cooks right in the soup pot with all that broth, so we don't have to worry about a whole other pot of water, boiling that and having more to clean. So in goes the pasta, and we are going to partially cover this and let it cook for about 5 minutes. Okay, so that pasta is partially cooked. Next up, we're gonna add all of that chopped zucchini and also our beans. And we'll stir and let this cook for about 8 minutes or so until those veggies are tender. Okay, there are still more veggies to add. We're gonna add in our full pound of spinach and let it wilt, which will only take about 2 minutes. And an interesting ingredient that you might not think to add to your soup, we're gonna use a little apple cider vinegar just to add a bit of acidity to this soup. All right, now that is looking delicious, so we can head back over to the counter. We'll top with a little freshly grated parm and we can dig in. Alrighty. All right, now it's time to dish up a serving of this delicious soup. You saw just how many veggies went in here. We have high fiber whole wheat pasta. We have high fiber beans, which help to keep us feeling fuller for longer. And it's just delicious. And because every good bowl of minestrone always goes well with some fresh parm on top. It smells so good. The broth is really tasty. I feel like I'm always so surprised by how much veggies can flavor a good broth like this. So this is perfect for a weeknight dinner. It's ready in 45 minutes or less. 1 pot is all you need to cook it. Or you can prep this ahead of time on a Sunday so you have a healthy soup ready for the work week. And remember, rather than thinking of all the foods you should give up to be healthy, instead focus on eating more high fiber foods for overall health, but to help with weight loss as well if that's one of your goals. You can find this high fiber soup recipe and so many other delicious recipes on eatingwell.com. Thanks so much for watching, happy cooking, and I'll see you next time at Prep School.